chapter 5. Okay, we are going to look at congruent triangles in chapter 5. Like I said, I really cut out a lot of the chapter, so we're only doing the really important parts of chapter 5. And starting with what does triangle congruence mean? Or what does congruent mean? Same, equal. Okay, so if we see these triangles, if we think of congruent, we think not only the same size, but also the same shape. Whereas not congruent, these are going to be different sizes or different shapes or both, right? Like if they're congruent, we should be able to cut this out, turn it maybe, and paste it on top of the other one, and they should be identical. Okay? So we might have to turn things around, like it might be flip-flopped or whatever. They could still be congruent, or like I can cut this one out, maybe turn it over and put it here. Okay? All right, now, if they're congruent, that means all of what we call corresponding parts are also congruent. Do you know what corresponding means? When we think of corresponding, we think of matching. Like they're matching parts. So these two triangles are congruent. Now, they're not drawn in the same position. What's different about them? They're like facing different directions. So if I have triangle JKL is congruent to triangle RST, what would be a pair of corresponding angles? So for example, angle K would be congruent, okay, and congruent is the two double lines with the little squiggly. What angle is congruent to S? S. Good. Also, if we look at the order of the letters in the triangle congruence, notice K is the middle letter. It has to correspond to the middle letter in this one. So the order that we have the letters here is important. Yeah.
So like J.
Yeah, so angle J.
Are the colors that are the same?
Yeah, so do you see also the color? You don't have, unfortunately, I can't make color copies on here. But if you look at mine, J matches with R. Also look at the order
Without
of the letters.
colors, how can you just like because they're next to each other?
Well,
or like
it's the location where they're at. Too.
It's the location of where they're at. So
like if you flip it here.
Yeah, if you flip it, what parts would be matching? What parts would be corresponding? So if I took this triangle, cut it out, and flipped it over, what parts would match up? Okay? Also, look at the order, right? Look at the order that the letters are in here. They also have to match. So now what's the last pair of corresponding angles? L matches with T. Cool. Okay. I'm happy about that. Okay. Yes. Okay, now we're going to do the sides. So sides have two letters. So I'll start off with the first one. I'll do JK. And okay, so JK, this side has to match up with what side over here? SR. Okay, so when we state the corresponding sides, just remember to put a little segment line above and use the congruent sign. So these two are congruent here. Also, look at the order of the letters. JK are the first two letters here. What are the first two letters in here? RS. RS and SR are the same thing.
RS3.
Okay. What would be another pair of corresponding sides? KL and ST. Again, you could just look at what's matching in the picture, or you could look at, oh, KL are the last two letters here.
What about
ST are the last two letters here.
The J and R.
Okay, so now the last pair of sides, yeah. So JL has to match with TR. Again, if we go to the order, JL are the first and last letters, has to match up with RT or TR, which are the first and last letters in the other one. So you could either look at the picture or just look at what we call the congruent statement. Good, questions? No? Do you see it, Minnie?
Yeah.
Okay. Sure. Sure. This one?
Yeah.
Good. All right. Okay, so now we have two triangles. These two triangles, are they congruent? Are they the same shape and the same size? Good. And we can see all the angles, right, and the corresponding sides, matching sides, are labeled congruent. So we just want to see, are these corresponding? What does corresponding mean again?
Like together.
Matching. So like if they match up. So are they matching? They're just yes or no. Okay, so the first one. Yeah, so we're just going to write yes or no. C and E. Are C and E matching parts?
Yeah.
Yes. Oh, yeah, we have to say, yeah. Here, I'll just abbreviate corresponding angles. All right, next we have AC and DF.
ACDC?
Neither. Why?
Because if it was the same, it would have to be AC
And
Also,
FE.
on this one, you could just go off the corresponding lines.
Yeah, you can also look, this AC has 3 tick marks in it. DF only has 2. So this is, you didn't look, you just looked at the, which one would be matching? Yeah.
Wait, so is it no for B?
Yeah, B is neither because, okay, take a look at AC. AC is here. It's the side that has 3 markings.
So if the mark
Yeah, if it was, that's what Jonah said. So if it was FE, then it would be yes, they are corresponding.
wait, DF is like, oh, I see.
The next one is yes.
Okay, so the next one we said yes.
Yeah.
Let's see, BC and DE. Yes, these are corresponding.
So then BT would also be.
Yeah.
B and D, these are also yes, and these are corresponding angles. Good. Okay, write 2 congruent statements for the triangles shown in example 1. Okay. All right, yes, here's, well, hold on. Just for a congruent statement, we have to use all 3 letters from one triangle and the 3 letters in the other, but the order makes a difference. So let's start with the triangle on the left. We can pick any order that we want here. So do you want to just go in order A, B, C? Okay, so we'll do A, B, C. Yeah, Avery. Oh, this is the triangle congruent. So like, do you see triangle, that's a congruent to triangle, blah, blah, blah. That's our congruent statement. This is just setting it up for us. Okay, now I have to make sure that the order of the letters matches. So if I started with A, I have to start with F. So be careful. It's not necessarily in the same order. So I'm going to put an F here. Okay, B is the second letter. So I have to make sure it corresponds to what letter in the other one? D. And then C, just double check. C matches with E. So just because this went nice alphabetical order A, B, C, don't think that it's automatically going to be D, E, F for the other one. Does that make sense? Okay. I want you to come up with a different one. So instead of ABC, can you pick a different order to come up with for the CBA? Good. And then what do we need to do for the other one? E, D, and F, because I would have to make sure that it also goes in that same order. So you can have, right? You can have a different congruent statement, but the letters, regardless, have to match with what the picture shows us. Yeah, Avery.
Would you have to keep the D in the middle and D in the middle or no?
For no. So what if I asked you for another example? I could go with triangle CAB. So if I started, so B does not have to be in the middle. The letters can go in any order. I would just have to make sure the other one would. Okay. Okay, given that triangle XYZ is congruent to triangle EFD, determine the congruent side or angle that corresponds to the side or angle. Okay, so I don't have a picture here, but that's okay because we're just picking the letters that match. Yeah, go ahead. Y matches with F. Yeah, so look, Y is the middle letter, so it has to match the middle letter. Okay, how about D? D matches with Z. Good.
Wait, so we can do this.
Yeah, Michelle.
So X and this letters would be
E and D. Good.
and then F and D would be Y.
Y, Z. What do you think? Good. Okay.
Do you have to put that line in the
I know, but if you're talking about sides, you want to put the line above.
sides?
Sides always have a line segment above. Angles, we put the little angle symbol in front. All right. Which congruent statement is correct? Let's look at it. Okay. Is it JKL and NP? JKL and
Oh,
NP?
sorry, the B.
Or JKL and NPM? Okay, let's see. J has to match with what letter over
Isn't
here?
it B? Yeah.
N. Okay, so we can cross off A. K has to match with M. Oh, yeah. So it's got to be this one, right? So it's got to be B. Good.
It's all like, you got nothing in there.
Question. Okay. Now we have to use a little bit of prior knowledge. Okay. Or actually, we don't have to worry until on example 6. We'll have to take a look at that. Here we just have to figure out XZ is what? Okay. XZ is the same thing as which one? These two are congruent. So XZ has to be 10. And angle Q
Wait, how is it 10 again?
has to be congruent to Y. Well, because look at XZ. XZ are the first and last letters here and here. So it has to match PR. And then angle Q is the middle angle, so it has to match angle Y.
Wait, so X is 10.
Yeah.
On the, like,
So the X is 10 on that.
so not the line above it.
You don't need the line above it because it's not saying the side, it's saying the length of it.
Wait, what was
Okay. Okay.
Wait, Miss Casey?
Yeah.
I remember, like, before, like, break that you said that, like, we would have, like, a test, like, the first week. Would you have tests
No, we don't have one this
or a
week.
quiz or something?
Quiz next week.
Oh.
Just a quiz in this chapter. Okay, triangle JKL is congruent to triangle DEF. we know angle J is 36, angle E is 64, and angle F is 3x plus 52. We want to draw and label a figure to show the congruent triangles. Now, we don't know what the triangles look like, so I'm just going to draw two triangles that look like they're the same shape and the same size. They can just be two kind of generic triangles. Yes. Okay, now I'm going to put J, K, and L wherever I want to put them on the first triangle. They don't have to be the same places as mine. That's fine. Okay, and then I'm going to put D, E, and F in corresponding parts. Okay, now I drew it, but I have to label. How do we show the labels to show the two triangles are congruent? So we're going to mark all the angles. So J, for example, is going to be congruent to D. So I'm going to put one arc for J and for D. Yeah, we'll label the angles in a minute. Let's just put the markings in. K, I'll use two markings for K. So where would I put two arcs?
Where?
I put it on which one? On E. And then lastly, L, I'll put three arcs to show it matches with what angle on the other one.
Wait, what do the arcs mean again?
It means that these are congruent. So I need to show.
Wait, but like, how do you know how many to do, like, per thing?
Oh, it doesn't matter. I just
Just that
need
it
to
needs
make
to
these
match?
two match, these two match, and these two match. Okay, now I'm going to do the sides. So let's do JK. I'll put one mark here. Where would I put one tick mark on the other triangle? DE. Okay, then KL, I'll put two markings. And I need to make sure KL matches with EF.
So I got
Okay, I didn't solve yet. Right now I'm still just drawing and labeling. Listen, if I want to show two congruent triangles, I need to show all three pairs of angles and all three pairs of sides, so that I can see the two corresponding parts of both triangles, right? Okay, now let's label. What else do we know?
so J is 36.
J is 36.
That has to mean that D also has to be 36.
Good, so that makes this also 36.
E is
Uh,
64. So
E is
K has to be
64.
And then you would do 3x plus 52 equals 2.
And then angle F.
Whatever equals 6.
Okay. Angle F is 3x plus 52. Now, there's more than one way that we
Does
can.
that match then?
It's going to match over here where L is.
So they're the same?
They're the same. But the next thing is, how would we solve for X? And there's more than one way to do this. Okay, we could do that. Or what do we know about all three angles in a triangle?
180.
180. So we're going to use, so do you want to just do that?
3x plus 52.
So, no, 3x plus 52 plus 36 plus 64. Remember, all three angles in a triangle have to add up to 180. So once we use the corresponding parts, then I can solve for X. Okay, 36 and 64 and 52. If you have a calculator, I see a couple. Wait.
It's
152.
152. Okay, now I want to subtract 152 from both sides. Oh, I gave you a weird number, huh?
Is it 28 over 2?
It's just going to be 28 over 3.
Okay.
Which is, that's okay. We can get a fraction. So 28 over 3.
So 3 times 20 over 3 plus
So that's all I was finding here. I just need to figure out what X is equal to. Do I have to find angle L?
No, it just says find it.
Just said find. Yeah, no, this is fine. Because all we needed to do was find x. We could find angle L. Well, how would we find angle L?
3 times 20 over 3.
Yeah, you could plug it in, or you could just figure out these three angles add up to 180.
Yeah. Which is the same.
This is the same thing. Okay, last example. Okay. I know it's a little blurry, sorry. Sometimes when I copy and paste things from. Okay, triangle ITP is congruent to triangle NGO. So if it's a little confusing, you can start labeling. Like, so for example, I matches with N. So if I see this is 65, I know N is 65. I don't know if I need that yet, but we can write it. Okay, T is 75, which has to match with G. So that's 75. And then angle P matches with, oh, so this is also 40 degrees.
Wait, N is 65, right?
Okay. N is 65. Okay, so wait. 6y minus 14 is the same as 40 degrees. So I can just set 6y minus 14 equals 40. So if this angle is 40 degrees, I can just make that 6y minus 14 equal to 40. So let's go ahead and solve that.
What do you mean this angle equals 40?
Well, because these two angles are congruent, this has to be equal to this one. What do we get? 54 and
how
then,
would you differentiate? Like if you with a different problem, do you know what I mean? Like how does that look different?
well, the last one we didn't find that last angle measure, but here we had all three angle measures, but the previous one I only gave you two angle measures. Listen, you could also do 6y minus 14 plus 65 plus 75 equals 180, like we did in the last one.
You could do what?
This plus this equals 180.
But not the 40?
No,
Why wouldn't you do 40?
because in the last example we did two angles plus the other one that had the variable equals 180.
Why is it only 2?
No, it's always three angles add up to 180.
Wait, so then you don't add 40 or you do?
Not if we did it the way we did the last one.
Why wouldn't you add 40 then?
Nine. Okay, let me finish it and then I'll come back. Y equals 9? Okay, now I have to figure out the value of x. Any ideas? Bless you.
X minus 2 times 9 equals 1.5.
Okay, so if I look at the sides, I can see IT matches with NG. So I know 7.5 has to equal x minus 2y. Do we see that? This side and this side are equal to each other. Now, I already found out what y was equal to. So I'm going to plug that in here. Yeah, so 7.5 equals x minus 2 times 9. Yeah, so 18. And then we're going to add 18 to both sides. We'll just leave it 25.5.